about having the right champions left alive at the very end. Game 1 and 2 were definitely some grind fests when it came to a massive 5v5, and then whoever was the survivors finished it off. So this time, I want to see GMU play a little bit smoother, a little bit cleaner, and a little bit better when it comes towards the end game. And there's that first ban from Austin, taking away the Nico immediately. They said, we heard about anime lovers Nico, we're just going to go ahead and take it out of the table. No chance for game number 1, and the got banned. All right.
Yeah, no, I think Nico's a pretty strong ban for the most part because she has such reliable snares and CCs, and ever since that change that they made to her, it's honestly just more devastating than it ever could have been. Rumble, though, that must be a target ban.
I don't think we saw it last series from GMU in the top lane. I don't think Ion pulled it out, but he is pretty strong. There's a particular player that's played on the XLNC channel before, Nerzulian, that once Rumble kind of finds a damage edge, it can be very hard to take him down. He outputs a massive amount of burst damage as the game scales later. His Flame Spitter can definitely hurt in AoE wombo situations, as the Sylas and the Jarvan both going to be banned away. So with one jungler of those top 2 junglers being banned, I expect to see Sejuani picked up. But outside of those 2, what other junglers do you see, at least meta-wise, really coming into play?
Elise and Karthus. I'm a jungle main myself.
Okay.
Elise is going to come out of this like woodwork all the time, right? And that's just because I think she's a cocoon bot even if she fails, and if she succeeds, she's an AP threat in the jungle on a patch where AP threats are really valuable in the lanes, right? And of course in the ADC role we're always going to get AD. And then if it's Karthus, I won't even give my analysis here. I'll steal LS's because he has it down pat. His clear speed is just too fast. You can't keep up.
Too fast for Karthus. He's just going to destroy all of it. And he's one of those kind of safer picks in the jungle because even if you get shut down a little bit, you know that as long as your team survives to the later and later and later stages of the game, eventually he's going to come online, be truly impactful when it comes to those big team fights. Heck, don't even worry about trying to finish the team fight off and steal a couple kills with that Requiem. Instead, just use it at the beginning of a team fight. Go ahead and set your team up for success. Go ahead and set your team up, knocking the entire enemy team down a huge quarter to half health, chunk, and then have the team fight break out from there. As we got our first couple of picks coming through, Galio, Sivir, and Yorick for the side of GMU, looking to have some serious wave clear, bit of split push, and their classic of that Galio support most likely.
Yeah, Galio's support just so devastating because of his reliable engage with the taunt flash. And I think that Yorick kind of coupled with it and the Sivir lets them at least know they can run a 1-3-1 and they can team fight. There's a lot of flexibility in the draft. I also like that Hecarim hover. Hecarim is a really good counter pick right now in the jungle. He answers anybody who just wants to gank.
And for the side of Austin, we've got the Morgana, Caitlyn, Talons. That Morgana, Caitlyn, a deadly combination. We actually saw it banned away numerous times last Saturday. As soon as you get one Dark Binding, you're into a trap, you're into crit shots, you're into AoE. You're just going to be hurting a ton. And the nice thing about that Morgana, especially into the Galio as a counter pick, she says, hey, you know what? You got a nice taunt there. Let me just go ahead and spell shield that away. Say, I'm not concerned with it. Let's just have some fun and fight this out from a massive long distance range with that binding. So I like the picks so far. The Talon's an interesting one because I haven't seen him played that often in the meta currently.
So Talon is actually really, really strong right now. And by really, really strong, I mean one tricks are dominating with like 60 to 70% win rates on him, and now one tricks are sitting somewhere between like 55 and 54 if they're actually playing him, at least from like the people I've seen. And I've seen like 4 or 5 different people playing Talon, which is really odd to say. I don't know why he's so impactful though, because I feel like nothing's really changed. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I can talk about why Talon's a strong pick, but I can't tell you why he's a strong pick now.
Well, and that's the interesting thing with certain champions is that what I call them is sleeper OP. They're kind of not the meta pick champions. They're not the ones that everyone immediately rushes to and says, oh, this is such an OP champion, but it doesn't mean they're not strong. It just means that that's not the flavor of the month. Nobody's playing that champion unless you are a one trick. And Talon, one of those champions that, especially if you're squishy, he's going to just leap in, probably running the electrocute, burst you down in an instant, and you are gone. Kind of like a Rengar, but for the mid lane. As Akali, also an assassin locked in for Austin. Sejuani, Orianna, the last two picked by GMU. And our last but not least, Trundle for the side of Austin. So these compositions are now being switched around, moving the players in the correct positions. We got some spicy things coming out, especially that Trundle jungle from Austin. He's the only front line for this team. What a huge weight that is now placed on Celsius's shoulders to actually be that tanky front line that can keep the rest of his team alive while they're either dealing damage from a distance or trying to find that assassination backline opportunity.
Well, yeah, tanking won't be too hard when you're against a Sejuani on Trundle as long as your ultimate's up right, so it means you're going to have to at least play around that. What I really am interested in is to see if this Akali decides to go Conqueror. Conqueror's been being run on Akali pretty heavily recently, and it's a really, really strong Keystone choice. It's just, she's a melee champion, she stacks it very fast.
And we are, interestingly, into a... Oh, there was a trade bug. Interesting. All right. Well, it shouldn't be too bad. We should be able to get back in here shortly. And because we did have all the champions locked, both teams know what they're going to play. It's just going to run through picks and bans super quick, and then we'll be right into the trading, and hopefully everything will be fixed up. So, no sweating, guys. Take a breather. This is the game one. This is when everyone's, nerves are kind of on edge. But because we know all the champions are going to be the same, locked in for this game, that means that we can go ahead and continue to discuss what these compositions really bring out. As you were saying, that Trundle needs to make sure he's playing around the Sejuani. The engage from GMU between the Sejuani and the Galio is actually pretty crazy and very, very strong, as long as they make sure that their carries, their damage dealers like that Sivir, are going to be safe from the Talon and Akali.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of peel on this composition, and just to kind of round it off, there's always the Orianna, right? And the Orianna is going to be able to put that ball onto Sejuani or Galio. Galio's a little bit harder, but you can get the ball into Galio, and then even you can always, right, you can throw in the Q. It's not like it's an ability you can't command itself. I think it's a devastating composition. The issue is going to be that they can't really 1-3-1 with what they drafted.
Yeah, especially with Yorick splitting on that top side. You know, he's against that Akali. Akali's got pretty good burst, but Yorick, he could just go either what I've seen a little bit of the lifesteal build, where he says, yeah, you burst me for a little bit, I'm just going to heal it all back up. Or just plain go tanky split push and say, you know what, I'm not even going to fight you, Akali. I'm going to wait for you to have to sit around and either just slow farm and not do anything for your team, or leave the lane. And when you leave the lane, I'm taking your turret, I'm going to take some neutral objectives, I'm going to take your jungle buffs, and I'm going to feel free to just keep on pushing. Now, I'm not super familiar with the other champions in terms of split pushing wise. I know that Galio can, and he can ult back in, but you really want Galio to be there with the taunt to protect the Sivir and the Orianna. So would you say send Sejuani to split the other side in the 1-3-1?
You can't have Sejuani split push because she has Smite, right?
Right.
The issue is always going to be she has to be on the side where the objective is, and if the objective's on both sides, she has to be Schrodinger's jungler, and that means she has to be actively, possibly at both times. And that's a tough order, so you can't really put your jungler on the split push. And I think that's just kind of why I'm talking about this draft like this, right? It scares me a bit. Just a bit.
Just a bit. Well, we'll definitely see whether the players are scared or not once we get into game. Now, we've been talking a little bit about that split push. I also think the potential Wombo combo coming out from GMU, especially last Saturday, their game 1 and 2, they enjoyed the 5v5. They didn't really worry about trying to split too much, though Ion on that Yorick definitely secured an inhibitor. I believe it was in game 1 that led to their victory as the game progressed later and later. But their 5v5 still can look strong. When you've got Sejuani engaging, Galio ulting in on top of that, the Orianna shock wave wrapping everyone up into a huge amount of pain. That said, UT Austin, they might not care because Morgana is so long range, Caitlyn is so long range, and Talon and Akali aren't going to be in the midst of a 5v5. They're going to be around the edges looking to kind of assassinate from the side. They're looking to pick people off that are around the back. They're not exactly running in face first into the enemy team. And so Austin could basically say, you know what, you've got nice Wombo combo, never get to use it. We're never going to give that opportunity to you. But to me, that says for Austin, they need to be on top of their vision game. They need to have wards everywhere, be able to see where GMU is moving to so they can make use of their assassiny, almost pick comp with that Morgana Dark Binding as well as the Talon and a colleague damage. You want to know when people are rotating to jump on them and kill them, so there's never even the opportunity for a 5v5 fight.
Yeah, so I think that the last thing you said is probably the most important, right? You never want there to be the chance for a 5v5 fight. It's kind of reminiscent of the game we're actually going to get a rematch of today with Team Liquid versus TSM, right? You can draft a Wombo combo team, but it doesn't matter if they never let you 5v5. That's just the truth of the matter. The issue can always be, right, when a team gets ahead and they have these picks, there is no avoiding it. And you can try to fight around the ultimate cooldowns, but when the ultimates are always off cooldown, there is no fighting around them.
All right, we got some people in the chat that are saying you do not give Hoopster's Talon, so we'll have to see how well he can play that. As Anime Lover did last Saturday pull off a 5-man shockwave that absolutely devastated a certain team fight. So both these mid laners are going to be a point of contention and something to keep our eyes on when it comes to potential carries for the team. So let's talk about these individual matchups. Orianna versus Talon. I definitely would give the edge to Orianna until Talon gets about level 6 and maybe a single item. And then it's Talon all day, every day, baby. I mean, he just goes invisible with his ultimate, probably doesn't even need flash. He's going to be on top of you in a flash, and your health is going to be gone in a flash as well. What are your thoughts?
Talon is definitely going to be a very potent pick. I think we kind of talked about this at the very beginning of the draft, right? Talon mains are terrifying. They do what they do best. I think we kind of have to look at this in a 5v5 setting, right? And give the best situation possible to George Mason. So in a 5v5, they're going to have the front lane of Yorick and Sejuani always there. Galio's kind of trailing behind, right? Because he's still weak unless he uses his W, and he always wants to save that engage. Best case scenario, Galio's going to flash taunt engage onto the Akali Trundle, maybe catch the Talon or the Morgana as well, right? I think in that scenario, they lose 10 times out of 10. Like right there, I don't think that you win after that. So that means the Galio flash has to be down. If that's down, we still have the ball in the headbutt coming in from Sejuani, who can also get the increased ultimate range. Yeah, it scares me. The in is really, really, really impossible for Talon without 2 of his teammates getting caught first.
We'll have to see whether or not they can survive till that point. When it comes in terms of scaling, again, we're talking about the 5v5 to GMU. Scaling, I believe, also goes heavily in their favor. You're looking at a Sivir, whose late-game wave clear is ridiculous. You're looking at a Yorick, who, as the game progresses, you give him a moment on a turret or an inhibitor, it will be gone. Maiden of the Mist to add in for those split pushes as well. So the side of Austin, their task, as we've kind of touched on a bit, needs to be to take the edge early into this game, to succeed in the laning phase, to keep Trundle alive until he can truly become that frontline tank, and give an opportunity for them to win the game before GMU comes online. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome! This is a Collegiate Playoffs Games, game number 1 between George Mason University and UT Austin. Let's see what these teams can do. I'm not expecting anything crazy in terms of invades or wild plays. It's game 1. Most teams, when it comes to these series, they play it safe, they get the 5-point vision, and they really kind of relax. But jungle pressure is a big deal. And when you are the side of GMU and you got that Sejuani, she could gank pre-6 pretty well. Are you seeing any pressure points that Sejuani might try to hit?
Well, so obviously it's the top lane, right? Talon's always going to be pretty safe in the mid unless he overextends, and given that we know that he's a Talon enthusiast, he's not going to overextend like that, especially into Orianna. In the bot lane, the theory in the bot lane is that there's 2 kills down there, right? But when one of them has a Dark Binding and a Black Shield, you're probably not in the best position to stop them either. It's all on stopping Railgun in the top.
All right, well, let's see if that's where Sejuani can focus. Again, sometimes when you are that jungler, you get shoved around a little bit. You're not necessarily allowed that freedom to make those ganks happen. What I like as well, if the Sejuani is able to find something in that top lane, is she could actually even take those kills. Sejuani, one of those champions that gets a little bit more damage than she necessarily should. Thanks, chat. Riot Games. Moving on, we're not going to talk about that. Sejuani definitely does some pretty good damage, and Yorick doesn't need the kills to succeed. He can actually do pretty well. I almost forgot, though. For those of you that are in the chat hanging out right now, give me a hashtag GMU win or a hashtag UT win. Let me hear your voices. Let those that are currently watching the game know who you're cheering for as the fighting has started. And Caitlyn getting some nice bit of separation there from that Sivir. All 6 minions secured. Let's see if Sivir can clean up this wave in the bottom lane.
Well, they go chunk down a little bit over half health there, but that's still not the position you want to be in. You never want to be talking about half health this early. And Morgana just going to keep on laying down the aggression there.
All right, in that bottom lane, definitely heavy push coming out from that Caitlyn. She's got tons of range, and as you can see, already see some of that poke coming in by the Morgana and the Caitlyn. Oh, she's actually going to take a turret shot on the way out, but she has dropped Enrique down to under 200 health. So Sivir needs to play safe, doesn't have the levels to really find anything herself at this point.
This turmointed soil spam out of thank you for the win is really going to start to hurt them eventually. That mana pool, it just doesn't come back for free. I mean, I know you have the Spell Thief's Edge, but we're going to have to see if the life lead pays off.
All right, Enrique dropping all those potions back up to about half health in that bottom lane. But keep your eyes on their Trundles towards that bottom side, cleaning up the Scuttle Crab as well as Sejuani. Maybe making her way around. They did, for the side of Austin, get vision of that Sejuani, so they know she's in the area, headed to the Krugs, and Trundle's actually going to step forward. Let's see if he tries to fight her over it, as that bottom lane is still heavily pushed by this Caitlyn and Morgana. Troopers in the mid lane continue to trying to get some damage down. There it is. A Trundle coming around the side lane, dropping Firefly down to about half. The Sejuani has flash, though, so there's no kill potential. And Requiem going to step forward as well, so just leave the wave for the moment. A little bit of Q damage from Enrique. It looks like everyone from Austin's going to get out just fine, and that pressure is doing really well for them. The push continuing from Requiem, but keep in mind, look at that CS lead at the moment. About 10 CS over this Sivir. She's got a wave that she's trying to desperately clear, and now that she's got that boomerang, it should make life a little bit easier as those Mistwalkers going to go in. Not going to do that much to Railgun. It's a little bit of extra free gold for the Akali in that top lane, doing a great job kiting those out.
Wow, Railgun actually really high up there in health lead. Although I think I
hold on, yeah, Mistwalker. Mistwalkers say, hey, you think she's got a little too much health? Let's make sure to clean that up a bit. Keep her under that half mark as Yorick still above his own 3/4. He's still got another corrupting potion, but once that's gone, he could be in a bit of trouble in terms of trying to fight any. So we'll probably see some of those teleports come as they recall and pick up those first items.
Wow. In the bot lane, it's just constantly Requiem poking down Enrique, and we see another trap lane, and that's going to be another headshot. Poke down to 100 HP. This is just devastating to watch. It really is. It's like you said in the beginning of the draft phase, this is Caitlyn Morgana and the power that they bring. While we watch the junglers, though, Sejuani's been entirely pinged out. That means that there's no pressure for her to exert. They know her path.
Oh, look at those crit shots. Traps and crits and everywhere. Rylat's got a little bit of armor or damage reduction when he was in that taunt, but it's so little, and he's wasting that spell just to keep himself alive rather than using it for the engage. That's what you want to have it. You want to be able to flash forward, find a taunt onto the enemy carry, and knock them down, but you can't do that when you're shoved underneath your turret. You got low mana. Enrique is in trouble. He's literally hiding underneath this turret, trying to farm as much as possible. Even Talon's coming around here in the bottom lane from GMU. Definitely in trouble as a second plate gonna fall.
Yeah, that's very early for the second plate to be falling. They're giving a lot of respect over to the Requiem and TY for win. That's a lot of respect, honestly. More than I think I could ever. Shockwave comes out, that's gonna force a flash.
Now keep in mind, Poopster's almost level 6 himself. Now that he knows that Shockwave's down, he could try for play himself. There it is, level 6, but this Sejuani over the wall finds the knockup. Poopster's immediately ults, so he's used it defensively to get out. He survives everything in the mid lane. But now he's going to have to wait for that ult to come back up before he gets to try for a kill of his own.
So yeah, they've decided to go for a freeze right here under the bot tower, and they're actually going to recall with it just sitting there. The strategy should end up panning out for them, as long as they're able to get back to the lane in a timely manner, but I imagine these players are good enough they won't spend time deciding if they want to buy and shop.
That Yorick also going back to the top lane, use that TP, he's got that sheen, so he's going to do a little bit more damage when he pokes away, but Akali, a little bit faster on the clear, and I think the Yorick backed first, so she's actually got a 10 CS lead in that top lane herself. No boots to speak of, and Akali's actually going to save her own TP as she goes up there, so we might see a early play from Austin as they try to move around the map using that TP. Just check very briefly as well. The ADC's not running TP, saw a little bit of that last Saturday, but Enrique is going barrier on the Sivir. Interesting choice.
Yeah, that's I guess it makes sense if you know that you're going to be on the losing side of the matchup, right? And as you've seen, they've kind of known this from the start. They're down, what is it, 25 CS right now, 26 CS right now. I don't think it hurt.
Go ahead. Oh, hold on. Except Ion's going to be in that top lane. Flash is away from Railgun, who tried to get the ultimate down. Can't finish off the Yorick, but definitely burns his flash. So there's opportunities from the rest of Austin to try to make a play up here. The Talon and the Trundle around the corner, but so is Sejuani. She's been pinged out. They know she's here. She's going to drop the control ward, get jumped on a little bit. Trundle wall not going to do that much. Popcorn hops right over it. He's just going to parkour his way to safety as the Yorick joins him. They've dropped the Maiden of the Mist, so she's around here as well, making it a potential 3v3. Talon's still going to hop in onto Firefly, get a little bit of damage. She doesn't even care about this Orianna at the moment as she's making her way up. Might try to catch someone out. Keep in mind, she's still got her Shockwave back up and available in the bottom lane. The taunt misses, not going to land on anyone. Now the Galio's in trouble. Chain CC all day, baby. And Morgana comes out with first blood. Thank you for the win, says thank you for the kills. Poopster's making a play on the top side onto Joan. There it is, the kill. He's going to parkour into the turret and get taken down. So it is a trade 1-for-1. However, Yorick able to get a little bit back after his own death in that top side, and the pressure starts to mount from Austin.
Yeah, so just kind of to break down what happened there, the 2v2 continued in the bot lane while we actually had, I think it was a 2v3 in the top side, because I don't believe Orianna ever actually joined that fight. And it really ended up not showing a clear victor, I don't think at least. Although the turret platings ended up pretty heavily in the favor of UT Austin.
Yeah, the best thing about that was that Sejuani didn't go down, which means she's able to get back into her own jungle. But look at the vision at the moment from Austin on that top side. Double controls, a couple of wards down as well. They've got wards all over GMU's bottom lane. This is actually insane how much vision they have in the enemy team's jungle. And when you're a team that wants to start off early and keep that pressure up, a great way to keep that gas pedal down is basically know where your entire opponent line is moving. They've done a fantastic job of that so far.
Yeah, vision counters champions, kind of a proverb I like to teach.
Here's the ult from the Sejuani. That's going to be straight into the Shockwave as well. Poopsters parkours over the wall. Can he take the Assassin's Path to safety? That's an auto attack coming in. The Galio ult just for happy measures as Celsius having to run away from the Sejuani. He's going to take the Blast Cone to safety for now, joined by that Morgana. There's pressure from GMU around the Mountain Drake, which is the first Drake of the game. They're not going to go for it yet, though, as the Trundle wasn't caught out, so the jungler is still alive.
Yeah, Trundle actually stays pretty healthy through his clear. Tiamat or no Tiamat, which is kind of odd, honestly.
Celsius going to come in the mid lane. There's no mana on Anime Lover, so there's the ult immediately from Trundle as well. He's got a bunch of damage and a bite, but he burned the flash so early. Anime Lovers may just be able to walk away. The turret shot's going to come in. Nice barrier from the Orianna to avoid that Q, and Trundle has to walk away, burning spells and ults.
Yeah, that doesn't feel too good if you're the Trundle there. I definitely think a big part of the problem is the early flash. It's also not knowing summoner spells are up, though, because they definitely knew the flash was down, right? Like, you just don't make that decision not knowing flash is down.
But you got to keep eyes on that barrier as well. And something we were talking about earlier was that barrier on the Sivir. She's been paired up with the heal on the Gallius. As you said, they knew their lane would be a losing one, and they prepped for it, and they've been actually able to hold the turret for quite a while in this bottom lane, despite continuing to get their health chunked out, and now a 30 CS lead for Austin's ADC as Railgun going to take double turret shots, trying to tank up for Poopsters. However, he's going to go down once again to the turret shot. Railgun might go down as well. It's a double kill. Oh, the execution comes through. So close from Ion. Nice route in the bottom lane. Sivir drops the ultimate as well to speed herself away after so much CC chain comes through, but the fourth plate dropped in the bottom lane as Austin continues to pick up gold left, right, and center down here.
That was just devastating in the bot lane. That one binding led to so much damage, and they're almost reaching that point where if you're under 3/4 HP, you could potentially die.
3 kills
There we
to
go.
3. Oh, yep, there's the Morgana jumping forward, drops the ultimate, goes golden as well. Nice stun onto the Galio. However, the Caitlyn's taking a bunch of shots. Akali, however, is around the corner, jumping onto Enrique first. Railgun looking for her own kill. She used the TP to join this fight in the bottom lane. Now going to find the Orianna. Sejuani around the corner as well. The flash from Requiem over the wall to make sure she gets a little bit of help. The Shockwave trying to catch her out. Sejuani smashes a boar straight into her face and now throws down the ultimate, locking up Akali. She's jumping away, but I don't think Railgun's going to be able to escape. Orianna cleans the finish, and Anime Lover comes out a 2-0 with the moment. Thank you for the win. They're not done just yet. Take down Morgana on top of it. Great play and a huge lead as GMU are actually catching back up in gold. Still down about 2,000.
Firefly might be my MVP by the end of this game. That was an incredible play. Flashes over the binding, lands the ultimate when he needs to land the ultimate. For a not mechanically intense champion, great Sejuani play.
And now there's a bunch of plates going back over to GMU in the bottom lane, which has been most of this gold discrepancy, has been those plates. You can see 1 plate on that bottom lane, first tier turret. Austin getting 2 off the top lane, 1 off the mid lane. So a lot of plates. They get, however, a bunch of gold back onto GMU's side, getting close to tying it up as Poopster's stepping forward aggressively as he knows he's got that Trundle at his back. I will say this Talon has been roaming a lot, and he's down 10 CS against this Orianna, who now has 2 kills up as well. So when you look at the gold, he's actually down 1,000 gold against this Orianna. I don't know that's the best choice, as Enrique's going to come from the jungle, stepping forward, thank you for the win. Ult has been used. Yorick coming to the bottom lane for a teleport of his own, dropping Requiem low. Last auto attack needed. Shovel Knight to the back. Caitlyn goes down yet again.
Yeah, now the Caitlyn at this point really has to try to cool herself, not shove up past the lane, use that wave clear a little bit, even if it means it's under tower. By no means is she feeding, but she's reaching that point where you really want to be cautious.
Well, what we talked about for the side of Austin is they want vision because they got a great pick comp, but that doesn't mean that GMU can't find picks of their own. They've got the Sejuani ultimate, they've got the Galio taunt, they also have the Yorick snare, which most people don't think about, but it can be pretty effective if you have to burn spells to try to escape it. And he makes a nice play in that bottom lane, will secure, I believe that was second turret, as I think the first one did go over to Austin in that bottom lane. Poops is going to go ahead and give his team a second one. And now the Mountain Drake started up by Yorick. Looks like he's going to try to solo it for now.
Yeah, Yorick on a Mountain Drake is actually scary. You may not think that he deals that much damage, but those Qs, this is a short cooldown.
So Morgana and Caitlyn have rotated to the mid lane. Thank you for the win. Just trying to get a little bit of vision. Again, a massive amount of vision from Austin around this top side. They really want to control this area. The Rift Herald was secured by Trundle earlier, so vision being used very effectively. But now we got to see whether or not that Rift Herald can be used effectively. Maybe pick up this last turret in the mid lane and secure all outers for UT Austin.
The mid turret, honestly, much more important than the other 2 outers, in my opinion, but the goal of leaders can't be understated either. Still, a turret's a turret no matter which way you cut it. What I really want to see is this vision just kind of get at least cleared out on the side of GMU, right? Like, they have that one control ward, but they're not even able to really push up for that. Maybe if they could just get in and get rid of, like, you know, the one control ward super deep, they'd be in a little bit better of a position.
7 kills to 4 at the moment. A 2,000 gold lead for Austin. Looking for a little bit more as Poops is going to jump forward. There's that damage. Ignite drops down. Takes out the Sivir. Now Anime Trevor in the mid lane. Just a nice shockwave onto Requiem. Spell shield, though. That's going to make sure that Caitlyn still goes down through the spell shield because Sejuani is going to CC everyone all day long. Anime Lover wants the last little bit of damage. There it is. The Q comes out. Command attack, except command die because Trundle flashes in for the kill as well, making it a total of 2 for 1 in the mid lane. Still, though, advantages for Austin as they say, you know what, we've had our fun, but we need to really get our head in the game. We're ahead in gold, but we're starting to fall behind in some of these team fights.
Yeah, and I mean, they already are pretty far behind, and it's odd to say with only a 2,000 gold lead. I'm not sure how UT Austin is doing this, honestly, and still down kills. It's a very odd game state. I really just want to make note of that. It doesn't feel like they should be this far ahead. Like, if you look at a glance, does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you're looking at the turrets, the fact that, you know, the pressure from GMU when it came to the grouping in the bottom lane. They also got themselves that Mountain Drake. However, Austin going ahead and dropping that Rift Herald, I believe it was, in the mid lane there. Shelly did slam down that first tier turret in the mid lane, I'm sorry. Will be dropped before she gets, well, hold on, she might actually get a small charge onto that second turret. Didn't even get to see it as a fight breaks out into the jungle. Celsius in trouble. He's been walled off. Now he has to run away. The Galio ultimate gonna whip, but just make sure the Yorick stays alive. Didn't even need the assistance. We'll still say thank you on the way out, though. Morgana tried to get in and help him, but a great Yorick wall closed the passageway for Trundle's escape.
Yeah, now Trundle getting killed there feels a little odd, too, because he's 1-0 at that point in the game, right? He's been playing a really controlled style game. Didn't really feel like the same player, in my opinion.
Railgun throwing down the ultimate, looking for Ione. Should be have the last little bit of damage, but the Maiden is continuing to just drain this Akali bit by bit. She can't get an assassination off when there is another member to deal with, and Railgun actually just walks away as she had burned pretty much everything and wasn't successful at killing this Yorick, and that really is just a foreshadowing of what is to come as the game scales later and later, and this Yorick truly becomes unstoppable as he's already completed his Trinity Force. And he's going to be so much harder to kill later on. Oh, Sejuani ultimate catches out Morgana. No spell shield in time. Best CC is death. Take down the Morgana, but that is another thing for GMU. They can pair this Sejuani ultimate pretty well with that Orianna damage.
Now, Orianna damage is something you actually don't hear much until the words 6-1 and 3 Orianna come into the same conversation. And all of a sudden, Orianna damage makes a lot of sense. I'd actually like to see her even upgrade the Stark Seal into a Magi's and just say, I'm not going to die.
Well, that
but maybe she's giving her opponents respect.
Plus a Zhonya's. When the enemy team has that talent in Akali, you really want Zhonya's just to make sure that the burst damage has a little bit of a harder time taking you out in one go. And so probably going to complete that Zhonya's, but as you said, I wouldn't be surprised if Magi's came through as well, giving Orianna a really good lead. And this is something the anime lover showed off last week very, very well. And we're going to have to see as the game progresses and these games progress, whether or not Nico being banned away against anime lover is going to have the Orianna joining her if teams decide that this champion is just a little bit too much for them to deal with.
So, when we're talking about champions that can get a little bit much to deal with, I feel like this game is full of them.
Boopsers running away from Ione on that top side. He's going to be able to use that Assassin's Path to just get himself to safety. But again, if you're not finding pressure, you're not going to be able to do that much for your team. And he just had to run away. A little bit of skirmish maybe breaking out around the Drake. Both teams a little tentative to jump on in as the Infernal Drake is spawning. So that's what they're fighting over.
So Infernal Drake really big. This can actually tip the scaling, at least who is going to scale over who in this case. And I know that we really see this on the side of GMU being just the ultimate scaling composition, but it's really the Sivir and the Yorick who allow them to do that.
Yorick TP coming in. That's going to start the fight as the Galio ultimate going to try to save the Yorick, and it will. Anime lover finds the kill on the Akali, and now the Galio flashes forward trying to find a taunt. He will miss, so he's going to get snared up. The CC chain coming out from Austin pretty well. However, the Sejuani is around the backside, keeping Celsius busy as the anime lover looking for the damage. They find the stun onto Celsius, dropping the Trundle down to about half. Rylas looking for the taunt. There it is. Gets a bit of a taunt onto Requiem, but no one there to follow up as well. They've pushed Austin off, so GMU respond by immediately running for the Baron. However, only one kill means that Austin still has a bit of skin in this fight. Anime lover towards the back. Proops just goes in for the assassination. He can't find the damage though, so he has to run away. Doesn't get knocked up by Rylas, so he's still able to survive for now. Thank you for the win though. Flashing away this Morgana, trying to just cause a little bit of disruption. The Infernal Drake is secured by the Sivir. Requiem actually the one that secured up, but now the TP coming in from the Akali. She's here to try to clean up the fight, find some leftovers after they have lost that Infernal. Anime lover down to about half. Railgun flashing the wall. They're looking for the kill. A nice another taunt by Rylas, however, won't show up for much, but it's the grouping power, and now Celsius can just start coming in. The shockwave onto two members. That's going to be a double kill, make it potentially a triple, quadra kill for the Orianna. And anime lover says, you weren't scared of me before, you'll be scared of me now.
Yeah, I can't believe we were talking about Pooper's talent at any point in this game, because my god, anime lovers, Orianna has just been popping off, and you said this happened last series too. I think this might be the point where UT Austin has to reevaluate their strategy and say we only crack this base with Baron.
Well, one of the things
That's
that
truth.
I loved from GMU that was so beautiful, and they did it last week, they'll do it again this week, when they find the right team fight. It has to be the right team fight, because it's not every team fight that goes this way. But George Mason does a fantastic job of holding spells until the right time. I thought that the Galio had burned Flash very early on, but he actually held it until there was several members group. Then he flashed forward, burning a bunch of flashes as well as the blast cone on the enemy team, as we might see another fight breaking out. But again, one of those things that you think Orianna might have been tempted to go ahead and use that shockwave early on in the fight. Holds until they're fleeing away, and then leaves the ball behind, and shockwaves 3 members, coming out with a quadra kill at the end of that fight. So amazing stuff out of Anime Lover and GMU as a whole for just really playing their spells well.
Whew. Yeah, playing to their composition, playing to their champions, and playing to their win condition. All 3 of those just showing through for GMU right now.
But you could see how much vision Austin had towards that top side, but it's all gone to waste because the fight was around the Infernal Drake, which GMU was very good about getting a little bit of skirmish to shove Austin away and then securing that area. They secured themselves the Infernal Drake as well, and now they can let that Yorick split push for a little bit until they decide it's time to fight for the next neutral objective and go for the Baron.
So yeah, the Baron is not just the next neutral objective. I think it's the only one of any significance for the time being, right? With the Mountain Drake coming up. That has a pretty big significance in the next 10 to 15 minutes, but for the right now, I don't actually think it's that big of a deal. All eyes should be on Baron.
Railgun in that bottom lane, joined by Celsius, going to try to take Ione out. He's going to drop the wall. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but the Galio ultimate is going to come in, and that will make sure the Railgun now has to run. The taunt comes through. You can't go into the Shroud when you're taunted up, and Ione comes out with a 4th kill.
That's the second time we've seen 4 kills just come through in this, and too bad it's not a quad.
17 kills to 18. Things are pretty even for a while, and gold-wise, they are still even, but it feels like GMU are walking all over this map. Great collapse by that Galio. It's going to be down for a little bit to join his team again, but at the moment, he's collecting the rest of those 4 members, so it's kind of that 1-4 yet again. And that mid lane starting to look like it's under siege for Austin.
So, oh, that binding!
Onto the Orianna. She's going to use the Zanya. Stay alive for a moment, but there's no getting out with 4 members. They're all crowded around waiting for the kill. Poops
End off this. End off this right here. This is where UT Austin just needs to, like, take their foot and just clamp down. End right here. There we go. Perfect. They've set up for the Baron.
Got Railgun splitting on that bottom side. Doesn't have teleport, so Kali's going to actually have to walk to join the rest of the team. Nice snare onto Firefly for the moment. Thank you for the win. Looking for those bindings. We'll see if the Sejuani can do anything. It throws out the ultimate. That's going to be something. Celsius drops down. And the Yorick now is caught between a bunch of members. Looking like Ione's going to fall down. Except that heal comes through from the Galio, keeping him alive. And now Poopster's going to be in trouble. He's stunned up. You can't kill anyone when you're CC'd. Yorick picks up a double kill. Sejuani's going to finish off the Talon. That's practically an ace, as the Akali's the only one left over. So GMU start up the Baron themselves. I don't know the Railgun can stop this solo.
Yeah, so now they're 100% going to take this Baron, and the question is, how do they put themselves into the macro position to end the game? First, you ask yourself, can we shove an end? And the answer is very clearly no, so I think what they want to do here is actually 2-3.
Yeah, Railgun just going to go ahead and use the Blast Cone to back away. Says it's not worth it. I know I'm going to die, and that will be just one more member going into GMU's gold pouches. Leaves. And now with the Baron, GMU have all the pressure that they need. Let's check in very quickly as another Drake is spawning. It's going to be a second Mountain Drake, which they could just pick up on their way to these lanes to push.
So the lane assignments seem to be a little bit weird right now. I do like Sivir, Orianna, and Galio. I think that's strong. With Sejuani kind of coupled with them on the roam, that can help too. But I feel like that you actually want to pair someone with the Yorick just to make sure that you do get the outer and that you do get the inner turrets. But with Drake up, they'll be focusing on that.
So they secure the Drake for themselves. They're also sitting at a nice 4,000 gold lead. So where they were originally down about 3,000, they have definitely flipped the script on this one. They're going to send all 4 members down here to this bottom lane to start pushing into that second-tier turret. York's still alone on that top side, though. But at this point, 6-3-3. He's got an item and a couple halves. Wow, look at how many components he's got. That is actually insane. Got the call, got the executioners, got the vampiric scepter. Now he's going to try to 1v2 on top of it all. Railgun dropped to half very quickly. Celsius here, though, teared away his stats. And with that ultimate, he's going to fall. As I've been told that his name is pronounced Ian, but I don't even know how to do that. Yeah, it's pronounced Ion. Good try, Ido, but somebody corrected you. Thank you very much, making sure that I didn't sound like a complete doofus for the rest of the series. 21-10. There's the ultimate from Firefly, locking up. I believe that was the Talon. He's going to have to flash away. This, don't think it's going to be the end, though. They got 4 members here. Shockwave only going to land onto minions, but 4v4. Caitlyn's cleaning up the mid lane. Hold on. Austin's got themselves a split push as they are trying to base race here. Caitlyn might be able to secure an inhibitor of her own.
Wait, they should just fight here. If Caitlyn's going to split push and you're going to be into a 4v5 position with a wombo combo team, you take the 4v5. What is Requiem going to do?
Requiem completed her
they're gonna
mission.
Teleport in here and they're going to get the pick.
Finishing off the inhibitor. Rylat's going to be caught out for a moment, but he's a pretty tanky Galio. Going to be joined by Anime Lover as well. They found the taunt onto Railgun. Akali now having to run as well. Thank you for the win. Finds a nice dark binding. Going to be on the run. Forced to flash outside of that E from Ion. As the members of GMU, they lost their middle inhibitor, so they say, I guess we'll just go ahead and take your inhibitor in the mid lane next. Collect us all 5, no split pushing necessary, and secure themselves that second tier turret in the mid lane.
So that's going to be the first of the few turrets going down. Or sorry, the second of the turrets going down. And now they're going to be working on the second of the inhibitors.
Inhibitor turret down to about half, made in the mist, being burned down, so she's going to be gone. She was just burning a little bit of health. Nice dark binding onto the Orianna. Celsius trying to step forward. Rylat's taunt's going to be messed up. This is the engage. Redemption coming through as well, but Orianna's already gone. Caitlyn's getting a lot of poke damage onto Ion. Thank you for the win, doing what he can. Double kill over to the Caitlyn as well. They're chasing it in. Railgun's extremely low and gets taken out, but the assassination is what she needed. Galio's going to be dropped. This could be the win for Austin. Firefly going to be slowly burned down. Requiem is just going absolutely nuts. Give her the triple kill. There it is. Sivir, the only member alive for GMU, and they held their middle inhibitor. So inhibitor to inhibitor, things are actually still fairly even between these two teams, but 3 members from Austin are pushing down mid lane.
Yeah, and as they begin to charge down the mid lane here, you just kind of left with this hopeless feeling that there's no minions and nothing for them to take. So they're going to take the red buff instead.
So they get a little bit from where they can. The Talon's the one who is left in the base to try to stop the super minions from pushing in. But it feels like the whole map has been somewhat reset. There's no neutral objectives for either team to rush to right now. The team fight was won by Austin. Gold is literally even between these two teams. The only thing that we can truly speak for is the 3 Drakes on the side of GMU. So when an Elder comes up, that is going to be even more priority from them to try to secure and make sure they can use those extra Drakes for themselves. Both buffs going to be up in a minute 30. So we're probably going to have a little bit of a breather, a little bit of a break, and then everything's going to explode in a minute and 30 seconds.
You think it's a minute and 30 seconds and everything explodes because of this choice?
Because of the buffs, or the neutral objectives of the Drake, as well as that Baron coming up, I expect some fight around those, especially considering that it is a second Infernal Drake. Now, there is going to be some fighting for vision, fighting for positioning around those neutral objectives, but you're going to have to split your focus. You can't cover both objectives at the same time. So either they're going to be trading objectives or fighting over one. Akali's trying to join this top side. And actually should be able to collect those minions. Caitlyn and Galio backing away. Keep in mind, Akali's teleport is up, so she could join a fight if one does break out.
So we're now 40 seconds out from this moment, and I think it's a moment that not enough teams actually practice out on. So the correct strategy here for either team is to first focus down the dragon, because you can actually take that in about 6 seconds right now. And then you go right over to Baron. And through the mid lane, I think you're actually in an advantageous fight as long as you're walking through either the enemy side or your side, depending on which support is right, because they can't afford all of them.
22 kills to 14, but even in gold. This is kind of telling the story of this game so far. GMU successful in these team fights, but not quite as successful when it comes to getting the objectives and overall map pressure. Though it looks like they're going to be trading the Infernal Drake over for the Baron. Yorick is down there. Hold on, hold on. Austin split up. They're all trying to come up here. Looks like Trundle's been left alone. Might have to 1v1 the Yorick for this Infernal. We'll see which one gets it first. Celsius going to be in trouble. Looking like Thank You for the Win is also going to come in and join, but Celsius is dropping low already. Ion is here. Celsius just wants to finish off the Infernal. The smite comes early, but Trundle still secures it. So the Infernal still goes over to Austin. The Yorick is going to be able to secure 1 kill. Should be able to clean up Morgana as well. The fight around the Baron pit has started, though, as the Galio looking for the taunt finds it onto the Kali, and they're going to immediately jump on her. Redemption comes through to make sure the team is healthy, alive, and topped off as Poopsters drops down to under a quarter health. He's going to be immediately cleaned up. So the rest of the fight is going to go into GMU's favor one more time. Requiem with the GA. Probably going to get dropped as he's been CC'd. Should be fell as well. And now Yorick gets to free split push on the bottom side. He's pushing in with the super minions as well. Requiem goes down. This might be the end of the game because that is an ace for George Mason University. Yeah, Rylas is just going to walk through the mid lane turret, take a couple of shots on his way. Yorick going to immediately, well, not immediately, just keep working on these Nexus turrets it sells. Trundle is up, but I don't think he can do anything against all 5 members. Morgana is here. Yeah, they just burned down the Nexus in a moment. And GMU,
best ones.
Back and forth a bit this game, but the pressure mounted. They won the team fight. That's the thing they're best at, and they come away with the victory.
That victory definitely feels well-deserved. I think either team could have came away with it. It just kind of came down to macro, and it's very odd to see the team which actually was downing kills for most of the game and excelling in CS counts in macro, right? Like, both macro, micro play actually ends up losing out there, and losing out in what we could kind of say was pretty decidedly, right? Most of their inhibitor takes were off the back of losing something much, much greater.
Now, the early game definitely favored Austin. That bottom lane powerhouse, Requiem, and Thank You for the Win was fantastic. And even though Requiem's scoreline doesn't look the best because of how many times that Requiem was caught out in the bottom lane, as the game progressed, especially fighting in that mid lane, Caitlyn did a fantastic job of picking the right targets, winning a team fight for Austin. Unfortunately, without those minions, they weren't able to get any other objective besides winning the team fight as a whole. And when the objective split came out, despite the Trundle trying so hard and coming out successful at being able to get the Infernal, the game still went to GMU because they secured a fight around the Baron, secured the Baron itself, and then pushed in for the victory. Great stuff there. Any thoughts? Sit down, sit straight. I apologize.
It's all good. So actually, I think my first thoughts come from the damage chart, right? And we have 2 assassins both dealing about the same amount of damage, which means that I don't think that we should be drafting the dual assassin comp again, right? The issue isn't the assassins you picked. The issue isn't the players you picked. The issue is that you drafted 2 assassins. I was kind of excited for the draft, but I think that the Akali doesn't end up actually succeeding unless you take Conqueror, kind of like I was talking about earlier in the draft. But I honestly haven't seen enough Akali Conqueror to tell you that that's good either.
All right, well, we're going to take a very quick break and be right back. We'll see if some of those composition changes comes through for Austin, or if GMU, once again, are just going to run with the team fighting comp that has worked so well for them game 1 and might work for them game 2. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere.
All right, I really got to run to the bathroom.
Yep.